On this episode, we're talking about getting new patients for free. $0, nada, nothing. Hey everybody, what's up and welcome to the 88 Show. This is the only dental show where we're answering marketing's most important questions. That is what we do here, and this right here, episode number 59. I am your host, Joshua Scott. Glad to have you. Thanks for watching. Coming in for a landing here on 2016. Got one more episode left. We're gonna end the year with episode 60. And for all of you who have watched multiple episodes, thank you. To those of you who are just joining, appreciate it. But 2 years of doing the podcast. So we got about 30 in last year and about 30 in this year. So it's been a good ride. We're gonna keep going with some kind of visual and just structural updates on the show next year. So be looking for that. But this episode, we're kicking off the month of December, and we're talking about the topic of free marketing and leveraging free marketing, because there really is such a thing. And I know it's interesting because in there's very much this ROI tied to, if I invest X amount, I'm gonna get X amount of new patients, or I'm acquiring new patients for X amount. But one of the amazing things about the world we live in today and this digital revolution is the amount of free marketing we can take advantage of. And this topic this month was actually spurred on or kind of created from the amazing events of November. And by amazing, I mean electing our new president of the United States, Donald Trump. Which, wow, that just sounds even crazy kind of saying that. But that's what happened. That's what it is. And so Donald Trump is now the president of the United States. Isn't that crazy?
Oh my
gosh. And so, but the fact is, look, what happened on that Tuesday, you just can't win an election based around luck. And so there were clearly some very strategic things that happened in the campaign, and much around the marketing that he took advantage of. And so what was interesting was the New York Times estimated that Donald Trump received about an additional $2 billion in free press and advertising because of all the attention he got. So 2 billion. I mean, it's like billion with a B. And so, I mean, Hillary's campaign actually way outspent Donald Trump, like twice as much. She raised, it was nearly $1.1 billion and spent that. Trump raised somewhere around 580 million. And so she doubled what he was able to raise, but yet he still won. And it was really interesting as we look back at it, because Clinton ran that traditional 1990s political campaign, right? Where it's very traditional. I mean, outspent Donald Trump in television by twice as much. But yet Donald Trump took a different approach, and he used social media, and he leveraged the press, whether we like it or not. I don't know that Donald Trump even cares if we like it or if we like him. He leveraged it in a way to get attention and to get free attention, and he did so on half of the budget. And so he spent 5 times as much as on digital as she did. Didn't have that traditional ground roots kind of local campaign office style that we've seen from political campaigns. And in the end, he won. And so 60 Minutes had an interview with him where he was quoted as saying, "I think that social media has more power than the money they spent. And I think maybe to a certain extent, I proved that." And so it was definitely a deliberate campaign on his end from the beginning. And so, what's interesting is, as a business, right now in 2016, as owning a dental practice and operating a business, we all have access to free media, right? And it's called social media. And before you stop and roll your eyes and you're like, man, just another person talking about social media, look, just follow me on this for a minute, because social media is like what traditional PR used to be. I mean, PR companies that we would hire to put good things out there and spread goodwill and name recognition and stories and branding, and companies would pay lots and lots of money for that. That is all at our disposal. It's all at our fingertips right now. And so it's just learning how to leverage that. But everybody has like a channel that they've been given. And so the question is, what are you putting on that channel? How are we leveraging that channel to get free marketing? And so on episode 59 here today, we're going to talk about that, leveraging free marketing for your dental practice. And so I'm going to give you 3 ways to leverage free marketing for your dental practice. Number 1 is grow your audience. And sometimes we miss this because the bigger the audience has always equaled the bigger the sales or the bigger the revenue. And so you think about just traditional television, right? And network channels, the bigger the audience, the more exposure they got, the more sales they got, the more revenue they generated, the more they were able to charge for commercials because they knew the result. It was a formula. X amount of viewers equals X amount of interest equals X amount of sales. And so sometimes we miss that in social media. And so growing your audience, it's free. It's easy. It's something that we have to think about. That's why you go into businesses and they all have these campaigns of please follow us, please like our Facebook page, please follow us on Instagram, because they're growing their audience. And so what we miss with social media sometimes that we didn't have with traditional marketing is the audience, the value of it is now exponential. Where traditional media, we're communicating with one person on a couch. Facebook, Instagram, it's not just one person anymore that we're talking to. It's their audience, it's their network. And so it's hundreds of people attached to that. And so an audience of 1,000 is 10,000 times more valuable than an audience of 100, even though the math says it's only 10 times as valuable. But that's because of leveraging the network associated with that. And so here's the questions to ask yourself. How much does a Facebook follower cost to attract? 0. How much does it cost for you to follow somebody on Instagram and engage with them? 0. And so that's number 1, how we leverage free marketing. Number 2, ways to leverage free marketing is create content. Create content. And so, look, right now, this is something I've been saying for a while now. And usually when I say it, businesses kind of tilt their head. I don't know that lots of people are getting it, but every business is becoming a media company. And that's just the state of businesses across the country. And I know some people are like, I don't want that, and I have no idea even what that is and how to use that. But that's just what's happening in the marketing social media landscape. Is you've now been given a channel to communicate with people. And you have to figure out what content you're gonna put on that channel. And so that makes you a media company, because now we gotta think through content. And so, 30, 40, 50, 80 years ago, we started off with 4, basically, we're just gonna simplify this, 4 main networks that were advertising content on television, right? Your ABC, your NBC, CBS, maybe, what's the other one? PBS, Fox, something like that. You basically had like 4 main channels. That quickly jumped up to, with basic cable, now you've got 20, 30 channels. Then it went to hundreds of channels. I remember when I first signed up for cable, I think we did a package of like 400 channels. And it's funny because at first you're like, wow, but then you realize you still only watch like 12 of them. But now in today's world, we're not talking about hundreds of channels, we're talking about millions of different channels. And so what this digital presence and social media has done is it's given everybody a channel to which they are responsible for creating content. And so the question is, what type of content are you going to create? Interesting is right now in the kind of traditional space of televised viewing content, Netflix is killing the game. And you know why? It's interesting because they started off as airing everybody else's content, right? Netflix subscription is like you could watch TV shows, movies that were already produced. Netflix is killing it because they're producing their own content. And so that's the key, is if we just use social media, Facebook, as a way to just everybody else's jokes and weird stuff and, and just what everybody else is producing, it's fine. But those who can create their own content and get ahead, man, that's going to be an edge, especially in the dental industry. And so here's a good question. How much does it cost to post a photo on Facebook or Instagram? Zero. So again, we're talking free marketing. How much does it cost to tell somebody online about your practice through those channels? Zero. So that was number 2, using free marketing to build your practice. And last, number 3 is interact with your followers. And again, as we talk about traditional media, because we're kind of comparing this to think old school, television companies, media companies like ABC, they couldn't interact with their customers. That's why, when you go back to media companies, they had to hire focus groups before shows even got aired, because they just did not have that real-time one-on-one interaction. So they had to kind of create it and fake it, kind of mock it up beforehand to get feedback on a show before they spent millions launching it. And then once the show aired, they had to hire ratings companies to then take the pulse and kind of collect that information, because there wasn't that one-on-one interaction. And social media has given us that. It's given us one-on-one connection. It's given us real-time feedback and conversations. And so that's how you have to leverage that is, when you post things, use questions. Ask people things. Ask them to share posts. Get them involved. Try to create a conversation. And when you do that, you'll find that you begin to leverage that type of marketing. And think of social media as, again, like I said earlier, it's the evolution of communication in a digital world. And the tendency is to put it in a box, that's social media, and you see everybody's doing it. You see a lot of people doing this right now. I don't understand that. And it's in a box and we shove it to the side, and people draw the line somewhere. My mom got on Facebook, but man, she's not on Instagram. I don't understand that. You see a lot of Gen Xers right now, I don't understand Snapchat. They got on Facebook, they got on Instagram, but they're drawing the line at Snapchat. And so we kind of all draw the line somewhere and we push it off to the side. But what it is it's the evolution of the way we communicate. It's just in a digital format. And so when you think about it like that, this is how we communicate with patients. And how can we do that the best? Engage them, and then your job is to keep the conversation going. So how much does it cost to comment back on social media? Zero. Costs nothing. How much does it cost to engage somebody on Instagram and comment on their picture that they posted? Zero. And so, look, these are 3 easy ways to use free marketing to build your dental practice, to build your business. And I think if you do this over the next few months, 6 months, I think you'll be really happy with the results. All right, so that wraps up episode number 59. Look, man, here's a challenge, right? Here is your goal, and that is to acquire 1 new patient from social media in the next 90 days. You can do it. Just follow those 3 points we talked about, and I promise you'll end up, you'll get your first one, you'll go, wow, that was easy. And then you'll start getting more, and you'll figure out how to start leveraging that and using that to get new patients to come in the door. It can happen. It needs to happen. Every new practice needs to be getting patients every day from social media. And so it'll happen, I promise. Free new patients, you won't even have to pay for it. In fact, you should probably pay me for this episode once that starts happening, right? We can set up a PayPal link down below.
Easy.
No, but do that, take advantage of it. Also, check out this month's article, Trump, Marketing Genius or Hot Mess. The link for that is down below. Would love any comments, feedback, questions. Next episode, episode 60, I'm actually gonna be answering some of your questions from that article and from this episode. And what do we have? Question of the episode. If you had $0 in your marketing budget and all you had was social media, how would you use it to acquire new patients? So that's the question. That's the challenge, kind of all wrapped up together, but you can do it. I know you can. Guys, thanks so much for being a part of episode 59. I look forward to the last episode of 2016 in a few weeks. I'll see you then. That's a show right there, right? Answering mom's most important questions.